Concerns about anti-Semitic incidents on the rise across the country and here in Massachusetts, with the Anti-Defamation League attributing this to the war caused by the Hamas terror attacks on Israel.
Western Mass News reporter Daniel Santiago joins us live in studio after getting answers from the ADL. Daniel, can you share with us what their main concern is right now?
Well, Chris, Abby, today I got a chance to speak with Peggy Sugar, who is the Deputy Regional Director for the ADL in New England. And she tells me their main concern is the recent rise of anti-Semitism on college campuses.
Anti-Semitic incidents are once again at the forefront of Jewish communities' concerns. The Anti-Defamation League has tracked the recent surge, which in large part has stemmed from the Hamas attacks on Israel.
Since October 7th, we've seen nearly a 400% increase in anti-Semitic incidents across the U.S., including assaults, harassment, and vandalism.
To break down that 400% increase for you, the ADL reported a total of 312 anti-Semitic incidents between October 7th and October 23rd of this year alone, of which 190 were directly linked to the war in Israel and Gaza. A big jump from the previous year, with only 64 incidents reported. On Monday, Shuker shared with Western Mass News one of their main concerns is the rise of anti-Semitism on college campuses. Luckily, something that's not yet heavily impacting colleges across Western Mass.
Sometimes these protests cross the line into violence. They cross the line from, protected speech to violence, and they're creating a atmosphere of fear and intimidation for Jewish students on campus.
The ADL has also attributed white supremacy to the rise of anti-Semitism in the past years, with their latest data from March of 2022 reporting 204 anti-Semitic incidents, 152 of which happened in Massachusetts. Shuker recommends students wishing to express their thoughts to be careful and take every step possible to prioritize safety.
Ensure that campus security is involved and can create safe spaces for safe expressions of different points of view.
And she adds that whether you're a student or not, using your voice for those who can't stand against hate right now is crucial, but always with safety as top of mind.
At the end of the day, speaking out against hate directed to any marginalized community, any group, is something that is an obligation on all of us.
The Biden administration announced plans today to step up protections for students on college campuses. The Departments of Defense and Homeland Security are working with local law enforcement on this. In the meantime, the Anti-Defamation League has resources on their website to report and track anti-Semitic incidents near you. You can find a link on our website, westernmassnews.com. Just click on the blue as seen on TV button. Reporting live in studio, Daniel Santiago, Western Mass News.